Hello, and welcome to the Bible Stories Now channel. Have you ever wondered if you're truly protected against the invisible forces of evil? Believe it or not, there's a constant battle happening around us. A fight between angels and evil spirits that directly affects our daily lives. And here's the most surprising part. You might not be as safe as you think. But before you panic, know this. There is a way out, a real and powerful solution. Today, we're going to explore how God's plan, through His angels, can be the key to your protection and immediate peace. Stay with me, you won't want to miss this. The power of angels. Messengers of God. Angels are beings of indescribable power, messengers who fulfill God's divine purpose with precision and speed. They're not just distant heavenly creatures but are sent to directly interact with humanity, bringing with them the will of God. In various passages of the Bible, we see just how swift and powerful their actions can be. For example, Daniel received an angel's visit with a divine answer shortly after his prayer. Ezekiel also presents us with powerful visions of angels, describing them as beings that move as quickly as lightning, so great is their glory and their urgent mission. This characteristic of angels, messengers of God, makes us reflect on the invisible power that surrounds us. God, in His wisdom, sends these beings to minister to humanity, bringing comfort, guidance, and often deliverance. Have you ever wondered how many times angels may have intervened in your life without you even realizing it? They are silent, but their presence is real and powerful, always carrying out God's will. What does this mean for our daily lives? It means we are never alone, and heaven is much closer than we imagine. Examples of angels' powerful actions. The Bible is full of examples of the power of angels, and these examples are truly impressive. When Jesus was resurrected, it was an angel who came down from heaven and rolled away the stone at the entrance of the tomb. The mere presence of this heavenly being struck fear in the guards standing there, causing them to faint from terror. This shows just how awe-inspiring and powerful angels' glory is. Can you imagine standing before such a magnificent creature? It's no wonder that in almost every angelic appearance, they begin by saying, "Do not be afraid." Another remarkable example is the angel who destroyed the army of Sennacherib, king of Assyria. In a single night, an angel of the Lord wiped out 185,000 soldiers, saving the people of Israel from destruction. This event reminds us that angels, besides being messengers, are also mighty warriors, capable of performing extraordinary feats in God's name. But why are these stories still so relevant? Because they show us that just as God took care of His people in the past, He is still working today, sending His angels to protect, guide, and fight by our side. Angels aren't just figures from ancient stories. They continue to exercise that same power, bringing divine protection to God's children today. This brings us to an interesting reflection. How often are we in danger, whether spiritually or physically, without realizing that invisible beings are guarding us? These powerful examples remind us that there are greater forces working in our favor, even in the most desperate circumstances. Help for God's children. Angel interventions in the Bible. Throughout biblical history, angels played a crucial role in helping God's people. From the days of Abraham, we see angels stepping in at critical moments in the lives of God's followers. For example, Abraham received a visit from angels who brought the promise of his son Isaac's birth, during a stage of life when this seemed impossible. Soon after, angels were there again to save Lot and his family from the impending destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. These are just two examples of how angels act not only as messengers but also as protectors and guides. Elijah, fleeing exhausted and depressed after confronting the false prophets of Baal, was sustained by an angel who brought him food and encouragement, allowing him to continue his journey. Elisha, surrounded by enemy forces, found himself encircled by chariots and horses of fire, angels in battle formation, ready to defend him. These stories show us that angels act in both physical and spiritual danger, always ready to step in on behalf of God's people. Today, many might wonder, do angels still operate like that? The answer is a resounding yes. Angels haven't retired, and the God who commands them to come to our aid remains the same. This truth offers us hope and comfort amid daily battles. How many times might we have been spared from dangers we didn't even notice, thanks to divine intervention? This brings us to the next point, where we reflect on the security that angels provide, not just in the past but also today. Heavenly security for today. If angels were there for Abraham, Lot, Elijah, and so many others, they're certainly here with us today. The divine protection guaranteed by these celestial beings' actions isn't limited to the pages of the Bible. It's a promise for all of God's children, in all times. Have you ever felt unsafe or vulnerable? Ever faced situations where there seemed to be no way out? It's reassuring to know that just as God sent His angels to help His servants in the past, He continues to do so for us. In a world full of uncertainties and dangers, this security is essential. Spiritual attacks, as well as physical threats, are real, but we should never underestimate the power of divine protection. In His goodness, God placed these angels around us to guard us, and not just from visible dangers, but also from those we don't even perceive. This is a security we may not see, but we can feel through faith. This protection is just as real today as it was for the prophets and apostles of old. After all, if angels moved on behalf of the saints in the past, why wouldn't they be moving for us too? The fallen angels. The origin of fallen angels. When we talk about angels, we can't ignore the sad fact that not all remained faithful to the Creator. The Bible tells us that Satan, once known as Lucifer, was an angel of immense beauty and power, but in his heart, the desire to usurp God's position grew. He led a rebellion, and along with him, a multitude of angels also rebelled. What were once perfect creatures have now become the agents of evil that we know as evil spirits. Have you ever thought about how even beings so exalted, who were in God's presence, could be led astray by pride? This teaches us that the danger of sin is real, even in perfect environments. This rebellion resulted in Satan and his followers being cast out of heaven. Since then, they have been working tirelessly to pervert God's plans and drag as many human beings as possible away from the truth. These fallen angels, who once stood alongside Jesus, are now enemies of everything holy. And this is where we need to be vigilant because this battle between good and evil is still going on today. The Confederation of Evil. Fallen angels, led by Satan, don't act in disorganization. They have a well-structured system, an army of evil that works in coordination against humanity. The Bible reveals that there are different orders among these beings and that they possess sharp intelligence. We mustn't underestimate the cunning of Satan and his angels. They are constantly working to deceive, destroy, and sow discord among God's children. Have you ever thought about how often evil tries to disguise itself as something good? That's part of their strategy, masking sin to make it seem attractive and harmless. Understanding this organization is crucial if we are to prepare ourselves spiritually. If fallen angels have a strategy, we also need a solid defense. And this leads us to reflect on how we can always be prepared using the spiritual armor God provides. Satan and his angels don't play around with their evil intentions, but thank God, He has also given us protection that can never be broken. The danger of unbelief. Perhaps Satan and his angels' greatest triumph is that many today doubt their existence. In today's world, with all its technological and scientific advancements, the idea of angels and demons is often met with skepticism. Yet, this is precisely the perfect setting for evil to thrive. When people don't believe in the enemy's presence, they become more vulnerable to his attacks. Isn't it interesting how disbelief in evil makes its work easier? Satan takes advantage of this ignorance, which is why the Bible repeatedly warns us to stay alert. This disbelief is dangerous because by denying the existence of Satan and his angels, Many fall into their traps without even realizing it. The Bible gives us countless examples of their evil works, and this should serve as a continuous warning for us. By denying the reality of evil spirits, we make ourselves easy targets. But God, in His mercy, has given us the truth revealed in His Word so that we can discern and resist the forces of evil. Security against evil attacks. How the Bible describes Satan. The Bible doesn't hide the truth about humanity's greatest enemy. Satan is described as a being who constantly seeks to devour, destroy, and deceive. He doesn't just want to cause physical suffering, he also aims to imprison people's minds and souls. In John 10 verse 10, Jesus describes Satan as the one who comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. And this stealing, killing, and destroying aren't just physical, they're spiritual. Have you ever considered how temptations and lies can have such a devastating impact? What seems like something small can turn into a real spiritual prison. Understanding this destructive nature of Satan is crucial if we are to fight against his attacks. He constantly tries to undermine our faith, peace, and trust in God. But on the other hand, the Bible also gives us the answer to this ongoing attack: divine protection, which is offered to all who believe. Who protects God's children? Despite all the cunning and power of Satan, followers of Christ have no reason to fear. God, in His infinite wisdom and love, has placed a protective shield around His children. This shield is made up of His angels, who are constantly watching and guarding those who are faithful to Him. As heavenly messengers and warriors, angels are ready to intervene on our behalf at any moment. This gives us unshakable confidence. Have you ever felt abandoned at some point? Remember, God's angels are at your side, ready to protect and fight for you. This security isn't a distant theory but a concrete promise found in various Bible passages. Psalm 91, for example, assures us that God will command His angels to guard us in all our ways. Imagine how comforting it is to know that even when we're surrounded by the darkness of this world, God's angels are by our side, invisible to human eyes but powerful in action. Can Satan break through divine protection? This is a question many ask. Does Satan have the power to break through the protection God has placed around His children? The answer is simple and powerful: no. Satan and his angels cannot penetrate the barrier that God has established to protect His people. This gives us immense confidence and peace because we know that evil can only go as far as God allows. When we are in communion with Christ, divine protection is unbreakable. Even though we face temptations, anguish, and tribulations, we can be sure that God's angels are fighting for us. Have you ever thought that during your hardest struggles, the heavenly army is fighting for you? This certainty strengthens us to keep moving forward, knowing that as long as we're under God's grace, Satan's attacks will not succeed. And this leads us to reflect on the power of trusting God and the importance of always being under His protection, knowing that He is faithful to guard us until the end. At this moment, wherever you are, I invite you to lift your thoughts to God and receive the blessing of a powerful prayer. I'll begin right now. Dear God, thank you for your angels who surround and protect us. We're grateful for your constant presence, sending heavenly messengers to guard us. We ask that you continue to protect us from evil, guarding our minds and hearts from every negative influence. May we feel the safety and comfort of your protection in our daily lives. In the name of Jesus Christ, we thank you and trust in your love. Amen. Now that you understand the crucial role angels play in our lives, how will you apply this knowledge in your daily life? Have you thought about how many times God may have protected you without you even realizing it? What part of this video touched your heart the most? Leave your comment below. I'd love to know. And if this message brought you peace and comfort, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, and share it with your friends. That way, more people can learn about this divine protection that surrounds us. See you in the next video.